Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is brought to you by the Business English Podcast at Career Language Center.
Glad to be here.
Today we are really cracking the code on high-stakes sales negotiation strategies. We've pulled together a ton of research on top performers to see what they do differently.
And it's so important because, the data really doesn't lie.
No, it doesn't.
The single most common emotion tied to negotiation is anxiety. And anxious negotiators, well, they just perform poorly. It's an emotional weight that can sink deals.
Exactly. But on the other side of that, I mean, the advantage if you get this right is just massive.
Oh, it's huge. Top sales negotiators are 12.5 times more likely to actually be happy with the outcome.
12.5. And what about the numbers?
And 3.1 times more likely to hit their target pricing.
Wow. So our mission today is to break down the 6 essential rules they follow. And we should probably start where the process itself should start, with preparation.
Let's do it. First, we have to completely redefine the mindset. Negotiation is not a fight just to reach an agreement. It's a collaborative process. It's the buyer and seller working toward the best possible agreement for both sides. If you go in thinking it's a battle, you're already losing.
That collaborative frame is key, but it doesn't mean you just wing it. And that leads right into strategy 6, which is plan to win.
It's amazing how many people don't, even seasoned sellers. You have to prepare. If you only have an hour, you run through the 5 crucial steps, like knowing both sides' objectives.
And analyzing your leverage.
Precisely. And that planning is what enables strategy 1. Always be willing to walk. This is the #1 thing separating the best from the rest.
Because if the buyer thinks you need that sale,
they have all the power. You lose your leverage instantly. You have to know your walk-away point.
So let's make terms like BTNA and reservation price really practical.
Yeah, please.
Your BTNA, your best alternative to a negotiated agreement. That's just your plan B. What happens if this deal falls through?
And your reservation price is your absolute line in the sand. It's the lowest number you can possibly accept before the deal actually hurts your company. You need to have that written down.
Okay, so you're prepped, you know your limits. Now you have to actually start the conversation.
And this is where strategy 3 comes in. Lead the negotiation. Top sellers are almost twice as likely to take control. Not by being aggressive, but by setting the tone.
I think some people worry about that, though.
Right.
If you lead too hard, don't you risk putting the buyer on the defensive?
That's a great point. And it's why leading is about setting parameters, not dictating. It's about using psychology, specifically the anchoring effect.
Ah, the anchor.
Yep, the first number on the table biases the entire rest of the conversation. Everything becomes relative to that first offer. You want to be the one setting that anchor.
A great way to do that without being pushy is just an agenda email beforehand. Confirm the objectives, list the issues. It sets a professional, collaborative tone.
Exactly. So now you're in it, the conversation's flowing, and then the objection comes up, usually about price.
Of course.
You need strategy 2. Build value. The temptation, especially if you're anxious, is to just cave on price. Don't. Use that objection as an opportunity to problem solve, bring it back to the value you deliver.
And if you really do need to give a little on price.
Then you move to strategy 5. Trade, don't cave. The key here is reciprocity. Never, ever drop your price without getting something in return.
Because if you just give it away, you're basically telling them your first offer wasn't serious.
It erodes trust. You should have a trade list planned out in advance. And here's the key. Don't just bargain on price. Bundle things. Maybe you give a small discount for a longer contract.
Expand the pie.
You're expanding the pie. Finally, strategy 4. Affect emotions. Let's be honest. These talks can get tense. Top performers are over 2 times more likely to be prepared to manage emotions.
Their own and the buyer's.
Both. They control their frustration, and they actively work to make the buyer feel respected and heard. Simply summarizing their needs back to them shows you're listening. It builds rapport.
So if we stack all 6 of these rules, we have always be willing to walk, build value, lead.
Affect emotions, trade don't cave, and plan to win.
You get the acronym ABLE to prevail. It's a whole system.
It is. And the research is clear. This stuff is learned. Top negotiators are 9.3 times more likely to have had really effective training.
Which brings us to a final thought for you. Buyers are 1.5 times more likely to have received effective negotiation training than sellers.
Think about that.
So if the person across the table is probably better trained than you are, what does that mean for the level of preparation you need to bring to win? Go make your plan.